Hello and welcome everyone to Trades Talk Tuesday. I am your host, Pop Culture Mechanic. You can call me Pop for short. As the title suggests, Trades Talk Tuesday, we will be talking about the skilled trades. I myself have over 25 years of experience in the trades. I've been an industrial mechanic for that amount of time, and I have learned a lot. I have seen a lot. I have done a lot. So hopefully I can pass along some of my stories and knowledge, experience on to you, and you'll have a good time hearing about it. But like we always do, I will begin with some news brought to you by Plant Magazine. So I saw an item here. Tesla delivers electric semis to Pepsi company at Nevada factory. That is quite interesting, I thought. Let's see what it says here. Never mind. There. Tesla delivered its first electric semis to PepsiCo Thursday, more than 3 years after Elon Musk said his company would start making the trucks. The Austin, Texas company formally delivered the trucks at a factory near Reno, Nevada. The event was live streamed on Twitter, which Musk now owns. Musk drove one of the 3 Tesla semis in front of a crowd inside the factory. One was white, one was painted with a Pepsi logo, and another with Frito-Lay colors. PepsiCo, which is based in Purchase, New York, is taking part in a zero-emissions freight project at a Frito-Lay facility in Modesto, California. That project is being funded by a $15.4 million clean freight technology grant from the California Air Resources Board that includes 15 Tesla battery electric tractors and other electric and natural gas-powered trucks. Electric semis also would be eligible for a federal tax credit up to $40,000. And hello, Godzillionaire. Welcome. Nothing truck drivers love more than sitting for hours while their batteries charge. Well, you know, as long as it can last for their whole shift, because I think truck drivers are only allowed to drive, what is it now, 14 to 16 hours? They have to log it, so they would have to do it. If the batteries can last as long as their drive time, as long as it can charge during their rest time, it might be all right. The article goes on to say, at an event in November of 2017, unveiling that the Tesla Semi, Musk said production would begin in 2019, and the trucks would be able to follow each other autonomously in a convoy. But Tesla's third quarter earnings conference call in October, he said, the company's full self-driving system is not quite ready to be driverless. And I don't think they should be driverless. You have an 80,000 pound truck driving down the road. I want somebody behind the wheel. Honestly. Musk said the truck has a range per charge of 500 miles when pulling an 82,000 pound load. 500 miles? That's terrible. Yeah, that's not good at all. Like, no, this is not gonna. The diesel trucks don't got anything to worry about if that's the only thing they can do is make it 500 miles. The company plans to ramp up semi-production to make 50,000 trucks in 2024 in North America. Competitors working on hydrogen-powered semis say battery-powered trucks won't work for long-haul characters because it will take too long to recharge the huge batteries. Exactly. Musk said hydrogen isn't needed for heavy trucking. You know, excuse me, you get more bang for your buck out of hydrogen. It has much more power to use. You lose less of it, but you get more power out of it because it's got such an explosive power to it. I would definitely go with a hydrogen-powered truck before I'd go electric any day. Unless you can get like 2,000 miles on a battery charge, you're not going to do anything. Oh my God, hydrogen powered as if literally the most terrifying thing. Hindenburg, anyone? The thing about the hydrogen is you could make it on demand. You don't have to store it. If you could have it so that you make it on demand, then I don't think you would have problems with any kind of explosions. It's when you have to store it. And don't forget, the Hindenburg was a Zeppelin with cloth, and it had balloons that it used. Airbags, I guess. Honestly, we would store the hydrogen in a steel tank, I think. Hydrogen is notoriously hard to contain. Even the smallest seal leak is a problem. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. I don't know if you'd have to do like a double-walled tank or something like that. But there's got to be a way to... with all the modern technology we have, there's got to be a way to store it so that it doesn't... but like I say, I think on demand would probably be the best thing. And that way you would only have a tiny bit of it. Even a little bit of it, like maybe a handful. So that's what happened with those guys. Pepsi's trying those out. Also, his battery operated trucks wouldn't fly in Canada. Like in the weather we have, batteries hate the cold. You can, as soon as it goes down below zeros, batteries are they hate it. They like to be like at 27 degrees Celsius to have their best performance. But for wintertime, I don't think that's the answer. It's not going to fly up here. It's not the tanks that's the problem, it's the seals in between. It's fine if well maintained, but do you think your average Joe is going to follow a rigorous maintenance schedule? No. Like with anything, they have to make it for the dumbest ones among us. They have to make the things for, which is unfortunate. But I'm sure they should be able to come up with something. Unless the whole thing that I saw is true, then they want to force us all into electric cars because they can turn them off on us. Whereas if you drive a gasoline-powered car, they can't turn it off on you. What else do we got here? Unemployment rate dropped slightly to 5.1% in November. I guess that's okay. Nova Scotia government purchasing historic Lunenburg foundry. Okay. November auto sales in Canada up from a year ago. Well, yeah, I know there was a lot of people that were, or a lot of there wasn't a lot of automotive sales because they couldn't get the chips to make the cars. Volkswagen searching in Canada for first North American battery factory site. That's surprising. They're going to actually build a battery site in Canada. I mean, and even in North America. So you don't have to have it on a ship and brought over. That's quite surprising. Good for them, though. If they can do that, pull it off and have it so that you don't have to rely on China for all your batteries. You have the raw materials here. Might as well put them to use. Bombardier says NetJets places firm order for 4 Global 8000 aircraft. New stats suggest Canadians already kicking some plastic habits as national ban looms. Business outlook worsened in third quarter. Statistics Canada says job vacancies rose 3.8% in September. Huh. Spin Master buying Canadian puzzle company 4D Brands International. Canada's battery supply credibility jumps as multi-billion announcements keep coming. Are we getting into the making batteries here? Yes. Federal Innovation Minister François-Philippe Champagne is selling Canada's battery supply chain prowess in Asia again this week. This time he has a new boast in his back pocket. Research firm Bloomberg pushed Canada's position in its annual global ranking of battery-producing countries ahead of everyone else but China. That's something I'm going to use very much on my trip to Asia, to say that we have what Asia needs, Champagne said. The survey ranks 30 countries with significant presence in the industry, be it in the mining of raw materials to the production of batteries and their component parts. The first version in 2020 ranked Canada 4th, and in 2021 5th, after mining outputs fell and regulatory hurdles mounted. But Canada has announced more than $15 billion in investments over the past 10 months in areas ranging from critical mineral mining and processing to battery component manufacturing, electric vehicle production, and the country's first gigafactory. Canada can't do any oil gas production because it pollutes, but yeah, batteries. Honestly, with the oil sands that's up in places like Fort McMurray, they're actually cleaning. They're cleaning the sand. Like, they call it oil sands for a reason, because it's mixed up together. And what they're doing up there is they're just pretty much straining the oil out of the sand. So that's all that's left is clean sand that they put back after. So it's a lot of misinformation, especially when you get Hollywood stars coming up here. As they go there and they go, oh my God, look at this place. But it's like, you guys just don't understand what's going on. That's all. Especially people from Hollywood. You're familiar with the oil sands? Okay, good. No, that's good stuff. I have not worked in the oil, not the oil trade, but the oil sector. But I hear enough about it. So it's I don't think it's as bad as people think it is. Helped Canada climb past Sweden, Germany, and the United States, even with the latter's massive investments under the Inflation Reduction Act. I think this is a home run for Canada, in the sense of the vision was really to build an ecosystem from mine to recycling, and now it's taken shape. And what we're doing now is to optimize it, Champagne said. His trips this week to Japan and South Korea, along with next week's planned stops in Germany, are in that vein. He has already met with key industry players in those countries multiple times, both in Canada and abroad, but he says he's focused on consolidating those relationships and continuing to make Canada's case as a presence in the field. The battery supply chain has many links, starting with mining of the raw materials like lithium, nickel, aluminum, and copper used to make batteries. Those minerals and metals are then refined so they can be used to make components of battery cells, namely cathodes, anodes, electrolytes. The components are then pulled together to make battery cells, which resembles the same alkaline non-rechargeable batteries most consumers are familiar with. And then gigafactories package those cells together in large numbers to make battery packs that run everything from laptops and cell phones to electric cars. The Bloomberg NEF report looks at all of those supply chain parts, as well as demand for the end product and environmental stewardship. Canada gets among the highest marks on keeping the supply chain green, thanks in part to generous supply of renewable energy, but also to environmental regulations on mining. The Bloomberg NEF survey also credited Canada for its efforts to boost mining activity. Canada is still lagging on battery cell and component manufacturing and domestic demand for electric vehicles, but there have been many announcements in the last year improving both. Vic Fedeli, Ontario's Minister of Economic Development, told the Canadian press, following a trip to meet with the industry stakeholders in Germany last month, that one of Canada's biggest selling points is its access to the raw materials needed to make batteries. Yes, there is a lot of raw material that gets shipped to other countries. We should stop that and make it ourselves. I agree with the same thing for the U.S. Don't ship your raw materials elsewhere. Make it yourselves. They talk about critical minerals, and that's when we know we've got their genuine interest, because there's such a finite amount of active critical mineral producers outside of China. He said, we really have a captive audience. While Canada is not the biggest producer of any of the main metals and minerals needed for batteries, it is one of the few places in the world capable of producing all of them. Canada and its allies are also trying to prevent China from using its dominance in the battery supply chain industry to throw its weight around in global politics. They have likened it to Europe being too reliant on Russia for gas. Exactly. Do it yourself so that you don't have to fall under the boot of China. Like, who wants these guys to dictate to you what to do? Place is just horrible. Notice all those programs mention government subsidies? Yes, Yeah, government subsidies or taxpayer money. Yeah, it's a government subsidy. That's what they like to call it, rather than just saying, we give your tax money to corporations. Where was I? Having started investing in the sphere more than a decade ago, China is now home to 3/4 of all battery cell manufacturing capacity and 90% of anode and electrolyte production. Its raw mineral production isn't always the highest, but it has invested heavily in mines in other countries, including in Canada, to bring those products to China for refining and use in manufacturing. The U.S. Geological Survey said China produced about 4% of the world's nickel last year, but refined more than 2/3 of it. It mined about 14% of the lithium produced in 2021, but refined 59% of it. Canada is starting to take steps to limit China's influence within the domestic supply chain. Earlier this month, Champagne said Canada will limit the involvement of foreign-owned state companies in the critical mineral sector, and a week later ordered 3 Chinese companies to sell their interests in small Canadian firms. But there are many more, including those only currently operating lithium mines in Canada. The Tanko mine in Manitoba is owned by China-based Sinomine Resource Group. Champagne would say what other orders will come, but did hint at additional announcements. I'll be like a hawk looking at these transactions to make sure that we protect the national and economic security of Canadians, he said. Okay. I agree. You have the raw materials, you make the things in your country. And a welcome to Blaine. How's it going, Blaine? Good to see you. Just talking about making your own battery, or making batteries in your own country rather than having China do everything for you. So I am all for us not having to bend the knee to China just to get things from them. Let's see, what else here? We got here. I thought I saw something about. Here we go. Survey: 48% of U.S. contractors say training the next generation of workers is the industry's most critical need. This is what I've been saying too. According to a new DeWalt, get rid of this thing. According to a new DeWalt Powering the Future survey, nearly half of U.S. contractors say training the next generation is critical for the industry's 2023 growth, followed by contingency planning and resilient supply chain solutions. Polling 1,001 full-time home and building contractors, the new DeWalt Powering the Future survey has found that 55% of U.S. contractors feel a lack of skilled workers is a barrier to growing their businesses. Among businesses with 10 million plus in revenue, that percentage is 69%, and those with 20 or more years experience, 64%. To address the concern, 48% believe that training the next generation of skilled workers is one of the industry's most critical needs to have growth and future success in 2023. I've been saying this. You've got to get people into the skilled trades. There's going to be a big gap. You can't find technical people in your profession. I mean, yeah, there you go. There's first-hand story right there. Can't find technical people in your profession. In addition to training the next generation, contractors shared that contingency planning, risk management, 37%, and resilient supply chain solutions, 37%, are also critical elements to growth next year. Regarding challenges, the survey showed that the 3 most significant ones among contractors are inflation, finding skilled workers, and or being understaffed, and working long hours. Well, yeah, I mean, when there isn't enough workers, your hours are going to get longer because there's nobody there to help out and make quick work of the job. Since 2019, 56% of contractors have been working more hours. Mechanical, 68%, plumbing, 66%, and electrical, 60%. Contractors have been more likely to have seen an increase in labor hours. Almost 40% say longer hours have made their jobs more difficult. And 39% have found that the importance of employee mental health and well-being is a key takeaway from the pandemic. 93% of respondents say that the need for skilled workers has had at least a minor impact on their current work. Those contractors share that the primary causes for their labor shortage is lack of awareness around construction career paths. Yes, thank you, high school. This is where the people or the kids are supposed to learn about this stuff. You plant the seed in their head, and then they can look into it and see if that's the career path they want to take. Outside influences that push younger people away from the industry is 47%, and underestimation of how much money can be earned in construction is 41%. You get a journeyman tradesman, they're earning, at the lowest $30 an hour up to $50 an hour, I guess, depending on the individual businesses. But you can make six figures working as a tradesman, and then that's not even including overtime. You start putting overtime in there and you earn time and a half, or some places pay double time, you're off the chart as far as earning money. So you have to want to do it for the right reasons, though. If you're going to do it just for the money, you might be disappointed, or you might not be ready to do what you have to do to make the money. The DeWalt Powering the Future survey sheds further light on the wide-reaching gap in skilled labor and its continued impact on the residential and commercial construction industries. Add to that the overwhelming demand for trades expertise during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the skilled labor gap is quickly becoming the most critical need that will dictate the future success of the field, says Allison Nicolatis, President, Power Tools Group, Stanley Black & Decker. That's why DeWalt is committed to putting a heavier spotlight on these challenges and taking a lead role in supporting our industrial and construction partners to overcome them. DeWalt will further its commitment to closing the skills deficit with the launch of the DeWalt Trades Scholarship to support trades education programs for students across the country. And when I was going to trade school, they had that as well. They had bursaries and scholarships and all that from the different companies. And $500 here, $1,000 there. It was nice to be able to help yourself out with paying for books and such. So that's what that's a good thing that they do. Here it continues. The DeWalt Trades Scholarship, which awards a $5,000 grant in pursuance of a skilled trades educational program for the 2023-2024 academic year, is available to eligible high school seniors, graduates, or current undergraduate students majoring in a degree certificate program such as trade, construction, motor power specializations, mechanics, or technology. So there you go. And up here in Canada, for me anyways, if you did your second year, the government would give you $2,000, and then when you finished your fourth year, they'd give you another $2,000. And I think most of the time guys spend that on tools, because tools are damn expensive, especially if you want to buy good ones. So these guys from Builder Magazine know that there's got to be some skilled people going into the skilled trades. Otherwise, there's going to be a huge void with no one to fill. What else we got here? Home Depot launches job seeker platform for skilled trades. HPI slowdown in housing will not solve construction worker shortage. Industry organizations work to help close skilled labor gap. The Home Depot Foundation has trained over 29,000 tradespeople in 4 years. Well, that's good. Training, investment, and improved messaging can help tackle the labor shortage. That's the thing. They got to get the word out. Get the word out to the either an elementary school or high school. Let them know that it's working with your hands. If you're adept at stuff like that, there's a place for you out there. You can go into the trades and make a career for yourself. You can specialize in different areas. You don't have to be like a jack of all trades. You can like do stuff like non-destructive testing, or what else is there? There's like, you can be a compressor technician, specialize in just rotary compressors, or you can be a hydraulics technician. You'll specialize just doing that. So that, to me, that's something that they have to get the word out to those kids out there and let them know. Me, I'd be happy to take on an apprentice. I've had apprentices before, and some of them are really good, some, not so good. But you do what you can to help them learn. It's pretty much what you do. You tell them, okay, we're going to do this job. This is how I do it. It works. It's worked well for me. If you come up with something better or you think something different, let me know. We'll talk it over. Just things like that. Trying to be a good journeyman, and a good journeyman is hard to find. A lot of them treat their apprentices like garbage, and you really shouldn't do that, because apprentices, they will remember that the rest of their life, and then they'll act the way you did to them. So you really want to treat them so that they have a good experience and they become good journeymen themselves and can carry on the tradition of treating your apprentice well. Yeah, there's some terrible jobs out there that have to be done, but as long as they understand that it's not going to be forever, and then one day they will be the journeyman. But enough of that. I think we can move along now to one of the projects I was involved in. So years ago, okay, this one? No. Why are you still showing? Oh, okay, that's why. No, not that one. There we go. Okay, what you're looking at here is a header in the largest building, largest stainless steel building. This is where the compost breaks down. As you can see, all over the floor is compost because it spills off the conveyor belts. So these pipes coming out of the ground, the large ones with the white pipes going between them, those are headers. And what they do is, any moisture that's in the compost, it gets drawn down into these collection pipes. It gets collected and then pumped out underneath. But over the years, they've got an AOD pump. I'm not sure what you mean by AOD. It's just a double diaphragm pump. Pneumatic. So over the years, the material, the compost, would plug the pipes up. And so I was tasked with, they're like, hey, we have to find a way. Yeah, air-operated diaphragm. There you go, AOD. Yeah. You and your, what do you call them? Oh, damn it. Acronyms. You and your acronyms. But yes, so right now, if you open up the lid on one of those large diameter pipes there, you'd look in and you'd see water. Oh, you used to sell pumps. There you go, Godzillionaire. There you go. You know your stuff. I really like these things. They are great. Like, they could pull liquid pretty far. Like, pull it up out of that hole there, or up out of that flange. And yeah, they were great. As long as you didn't overspeed them. I found that the operators would always crank them up so that they were going super fast, and then they'd run them dry and then keep them going. So I tried to do a few things to stop them from doing that. And I'll show later on a few pictures of what I did. So when they said we have to pull the water out of these collection pipes, I was like, okay, well, I got to come up with something. So I thought, okay, well, we'll go down. First I had to cut a hole. So I got a hole saw, and I cut a hole in the middle of that flange, right here, this flange right here. And I put that connector in there. I had to do a little modifying, but then I put a pipe that about 10 foot long with a strainer on the end down to the bottom of this, down to the bottom of that header. And it reached almost touching the bottom. I had a strainer on it. It almost touched the bottom. I didn't want to touch the bottom exactly because I didn't want material getting into the strainer. And I did that with this one, and I did it with the other one as well. As you can see, then I I drilled a hole and put just a little bit of a cap, just a pipe cap on there. Can I zoom in? I could, yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, so I put a bit of a pipe cap on there so you could at least look inside and look at the level of the water in there to know whether to turn the pump on. And same thing back here. And I made it so you only run one pump at a time. So one is closed, one's opened, and between them is a T, and it comes down and goes to the suction end of the pipe. There it is there. And there's the suction end of the pipe. And as you can see, it's held in by a cam lock, and I would use tie wraps to lock them so that they wouldn't come loose. And we have a solenoid on there. So the solenoid and the solenoid valve, so that the air would only turn on when you... Oh, it's not. Okay. Anyways, it goes up to a timer. And we had a timer, and we could turn it on and set it for between 5 and 15 minutes. And it would pump it out here, out to the discharge. And I laid some pipe along the whole length, all the way down. It's about 600 feet away, so I had to put all that pipe down and connected it, and all the way down to the end so that it would go into a proper drain. So that's the setup for what this was like. This is the setup. There was how many? 12. I had 12 of these pumps set up. Yeah, just lay in my pipe. You know how it is. But that's the setup for it. And I had 12 of these pumps, and they were all set up. I had to make sure they were connected properly, and they all worked, and it was quite the ordeal. Okay, that's a picture of the inside. So to the right of this conveyor belt and down on the floor is where those pumps are. But that is all the compost as it's breaking down. So that's one of 3. We called them the bays, the compost bays, and that was one of 3 of them. Okay, no. So the way I would try to control it so those guys wouldn't overspeed the pump is I put a needle valve in, and what a needle valve does is it lets the pressure stays the same. So from your compressor, it's about 90 psi, 90 to 100. But it controls the volume of air. So for that, it follows this pink airline along and goes to the pump. And it still allows the same pressure, but you control the volume of air will help control the speed. So the pump wouldn't overspeed, even if it was pumping dry. You never want it to pump dry anyway, but things happen like that. The operators don't care. They're going to just do what they want to do and not worry about stuff like that, because that's my job, right? So yes, that is how I controlled that. Just the simple needle valve. There's another shot of it there. There is another setup with the headers that were on the other side of the bay. And they were under, so I had to try to hang I have a pipe hanger here, and it goes to the other header. And then there's this one over here. Same thing. Put in a an adapter piece, and then the cap here so you can look inside, inspection cap, and there's the valves. All done with plastic pipe, like PVC. All the PVC, you can see the purple with this PVC cement and the PVC, what do they call it? The stuff you'd prep it. Pipe hanger. Don't your pipe flanges lift, bro? Oh, you can't rely on that. No, I'm always a proponent of having good support. Lessens the strain on everything. There's another view of inside the bay. There's another setup of what the diaphragm pump looks like. Very simple, very compact. These things were great. I like using them. That's a 2-inch diaphragm pump, so it moved a lot of liquid. So in order to do this, I had to set up run some airline. And as you can see, there's a rail here, like what a train would run on, a piece of rail. So I had to go underneath that to run it so that, because there's a machine that goes back and forth over these rails. So I had to make it so the pipe fittings would go down underneath and along the way so I could supply air to both of the pumps on the one side. Because each side had 2 pumps. As you can see there's a shot underneath of where the discharge hose goes from the pump. It goes underneath and all the way there to the pipe, ties in and goes all the way to the end. You love how much crap is on the floor? People think most plants are clean and spotless. Oh, you sweet summer. We were especially, like, you'd get compost dropping off the conveyor belt. Yeah, it was, unless you told guys to get down there with a shovel and clean it up, it wasn't. It just was that. I just learned to live with it. There's a little better shot there of another one. It's the header there, and then the pipe going off to the other one, and then the pump setup. And you can't quite see, but I think it ties into the hard pipe here on the floor. I should have some pictures of that. There's some there going underneath the rail. There's the timer. I got our electricians to install a timer. Hey, Kitty Bear, good to see you. Someone didn't hit the thumb up button. Yeah. Well, I hope they do. Listen to Kitty Bear, you guys. Hit the thumbs up button if you like it. So yeah, there's our junction box. And yeah, I get my electrician to go in there and install that. And there's some more of the tubing I ran. You can see it's on the floor, so we're going to have to protect that because it's going to get mangled if... You could have done that for me? You used to be an electrician? Well, there you go. So you know what it's all about. There's the machine that runs on the rails. This is an actual... We called it a turner because it would turn all the compost. As you can see, it's got the large augers on it, and it would turn the compost around and around and aerate it. So this is the machine we have to avoid because it rides on that railing. There's a little better shot there. I have a needle valve right there installed. I'm not sure you'd trust the electrician in the thumbnail to do a great job. You just say, hello, Punkwaddle. Welcome, sir. How bad did it smell in there? Oh, man. Okay, like, I don't know if you've ever smelt rotting garbage, but you've got it, like, ammonia was the biggest smell in there. And I found out my tolerance for ammonia. Apparently I can, before it gets up to about 200 parts a million, and then my eyes start to sting like crazy. And yeah. So When it gets up that high, you don't even go in here anymore. We always had to wear respirators and such, but still, yeah, it would. When it got up pretty high, it would hurt your eyes. Punk waddles worked in landfills. Welcome, brother. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We would turn all the city's garbage into compost here, so it was on an industrial scale. And yes, there is where I would run the air to run the diaphragm pump, which you can just barely see the yellow diaphragm pump there. There's some more tubing to run. Try to keep it nice and neat. I had to bend it all so that it would make all the corners nice. And you always tag everything out so that nobody tries to actuate it while you're working on it. If somebody comes by and turns the ball valve, it's going to blow air all over the place. You could see all the particulate in the air. So the camera had the flash go off. All of this that you see is particulate. This is that's why mostly I wore my respirator. The smell didn't bother me. It was the particulate in the air that I was worried about. You don't want to get like compost lung or something like that. Punkwell, you did groundwater sampling. Might have had a purple hat with a big W on it, though. Groundwater samplings, that's important stuff. They really want you to make sure you're not contaminating the groundwater. Yeah, so more pictures of... There's the rail. And I think I was getting a... Oh, okay. See, we even had to run extension cords under the railing just so you could work while the machine was going. Otherwise, you would run over it, and that'd be the end of that. And there is the... Okay, this must be the other end. As you can see, there's the setup for the pump. There's the rubber hose. There's the hard pipe. And it comes over. And this is the other end where the second pump would be. You got your paper as an electrician at the age of 22. By the age of 24, you were on disability for being insane. So yeah, don't trust me as... Okay then. That's not good. Yes, still more pictures. Whenever I did a project, I tried to take as many pictures as possible. That way you could show the supervisor and all that your progress. You know, this is what's been done, you know, and also for your own peace of mind to know that, yes, I did do that. And there, for protection, I had to make a guard. And that was pretty simple. It was just take a piece of angle iron and weld some tabs on it and anchor it to the floor. You know, get the old Hilti drill out, drill it in, put in some anchors. I couldn't do it here because that was a lid and there wouldn't have been any good support coming out of that one. I believe it was even plastic, so. Yeah, there's some more. I think I'm tying into the existing airline. As you can tell, this hard pipe here, it's almost like it's growing fuzz on it. So it's been there for a while. Anything that's shiny has been new and added by me. Well, from what you see electric-wise in my country, you would get a fine or two. Of course. Why not, eh? But yes, that is the installation of the sump pumps, or pumps for the headers. I can show you guys the... for those of you that arrived a little later, I believe. There we go. Yeah, there's the setup that I started with. And like that on one side. So, looking at this, the humidity was so bad in here that you would get mold growing on all the surfaces, right? And the walls would be wet, the doors would be wet. So this was not a nice place to work in. It was very dirty. You know, we got your complimentary bag of ice melt there. So when you're working in this environment, it is hot in the summer, like we're talking 36 degrees C, 38 degrees C, with 80% humidity. So you're sweating and it's not evaporating. The only good time was in the winter. It wasn't as hot, but then you're going from cold to hot, and that's hard on you too. In your time actually working as an electrician, you got 3 fines, 1 for not wearing safety shoes, and 2 for not wearing your hard hat on top of the roof of a building. Well, they're just coming to get you now, aren't they? That just seems kind of ridiculous. What's going to get you at the top of a building? So yes, as you can see, there's another shot. You can see how the walls are just glistening wet with humidity. Yeah. All the garbage around that falls off the conveyor, you can see here. Some of this stuff is burying the pipes. So you'd get a lot of that working in this area. So you had to be careful when you were working. Right above you was a conveyor, and stuff would fall off the conveyor and could potentially fall on you. So it wasn't the best. Yes, and there, for anyone that didn't see, there's where it's coming underneath the rail. There's my guard I made. And it comes under, it's protecting this tubing as it comes underneath, and it goes to the hard pipe, and the hard pipe goes to the pumps. What you're looking at here, this is a counterweight for a conveyor. So in order to provide the tension on the conveyor, you use a counterweight here, and it might be a little tough to see, but there's wire ropes that go from the counterweight. It goes up around a shiv, down around another shiv, and then it goes along, and it hooks onto the back of the tail pulley, and that provides the tension to keep your conveyor belt tight, and so it doesn't slip. So anytime you'd have to work on that, you would have to lift up the counterweight, put some blocks under it, and then you could work on the conveyor belt. Yeah, Godzilla, I piped it all my own. I didn't wait for an engineering guy to design or anything. It wasn't that critical. So it was just myself just piping it in and putting it where I thought was best. And up until they tore down this building, it was in use. Safety inspector said something could drop from the cranes that went over my head. I said if anything drops from it, I will be a concrete slap, and that will make you as flat as a diamond. Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah. I said something really bad in Dutch. I'm sorry. I don't know Dutch. I sorry. But yeah, there's a better shot underneath, connecting to the pipe that goes to the drain. Another shot of the conveyor. Not quite sure what I'm shooting here. This was taken in 2011, so I'm a little bit foggy on some of the stuff I took pictures of as to what I was getting at. But yeah, better shot of those guys. There's another shot of the rail. and the conveyor belt. As you can see, the wire cables coming down and hooking on to the tail pulley. And the rail that it rides on. These are the stops. So you take these would stop the machine from going too far. The physical stops. When we needed to work on the machine, though, we would remove this front one and pull the machine out past it until it hit this back one. And then we could work on the machine, which was handy. Yep, there's that. There's the machine itself. And it rode along, and all the power and everything were provided by this cable tray and this track here. Hooked, as you can see, it hooks onto the machine, and the machine pulls this thing up and down, back and forth as it works its way along. And that's how you provide this moving machine with power. Because nope, not that one. It aerates it, all the compost, with the augers, and also uses a paddle wheel to pull it off onto that conveyor belt down below. So it was quite an ingenious. It's an Italian machine made by Sorain. You said I piped it all myself. A Dutch person with bad English would understand that you gave it all a beach. Oh, kitty bear. So yeah, that is the header project, is what I refer it to, because it was all about draining the water out of those headers and moving it away from a place that was plugged. It was all plugged up. So I had the job of designing it and putting it into action, that it would drain those header pipes and send it all the way to as you can see, it's quite a long ways away. Send it all the way, about 600 feet away, down to the end, to the other drains that did work. So yes, quite proud of myself. Well, I'm going to wrap it up now, everybody. It's been a great time. I always like sharing my stories with you guys, and I like hearing your comments. No matter what, you guys got any questions, feel free. Fire them out there. I'll do what I can to answer them. Show you guys a little bit of the life of working in waste management. Yeah, yes, it is as glamorous as you think it is. You're upset my thumbnail didn't draw more viewers. Hey, I tried, Godzillionaire. I tried to find something safe for YouTube. I was hoping too that people would be like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch this guy's stream." But yeah, better luck next time, eh? I'm gonna keep it up though. I think it was your suggestion, wasn't it, to use to draw them in with some sexy ladies? I keep that up though, just to see. Name one job that is legal everywhere and a blowjob is. Well, it's not a prostitute, because that's not legal everywhere. Could it be, you're talking about the drink? Could it be a bartender? Oh, glass blowing. Okay. No, I get it. I get it. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, this place is no longer standing. They tore it down a couple of years ago. There was a wrinkle in the roof, and I don't know if you can see from here. Probably can't, but the roof's kind of corrugated, and it's got an attic in between. So there's the ceiling, there's an attic above that, and then the roof. So it had a wrinkle in it. So all the engineers got like right upset, and they were just like, oh no, we got to condemn the building. Like this thing is, so anytime it rained, we had to get out of the building, and then we had to have an engineering crew come in and clear it so we could go back into work. And that was $2,000 a pop. So every time these guys were loving it. It's like they get $2,000 to go in, inspect it, and come out, and it took them about 15 minutes. So I think this building was fine, but whatever. They had designs on tearing it down, so it's unfortunate. It was a good way to do composting, especially on an industrial scale when you're doing like a whole city of like, I don't know, 900,000 people. You need that capacity because you're just not going to keep up otherwise. Also nowadays, removing leaves involves a lot of blowing. Yes, it does. You got that right. Zing! All right, everybody. It's just about time for my favorite show. I'm going to hop on over to Blaine's Escape Corner. I hope he's doing his stream tonight. He's been gone away in Japan for so long. I'm just wondering if he's going to do. He wasn't feeling well yesterday. See if he's got a stream going on. Blaine, you still out there? You're going on, aren't you? I'll have to wait for the chat lag to catch up. One thing I'm not too crazy about, chat lag. You thought Blaine was joining the Zeon army in Japan? He's probably pretty close. You'd think so. I know I want to plan our trip next year to Japan. Me and my wife go to Japan. First thing I'm going to hit up, the Mugiwara store. That's right. Got to get my One Piece stuff. We're thinking of bringing an empty suitcase just to bring back all the merch we want. And she wants to hit up the Sanrio store. And we're going to probably tour around Tokyo. I wouldn't mind spending 2 weeks there just to get settled in and see the sights. It'd be a fun time. Probably going to be really expensive, but we'll see. All right, everybody. Just want to say thanks to everyone who came out. You know who you are. Guys like Godzillionaire and Blaine and Kitty Bear and Punkwaddle. Anybody who was lurking, I appreciate you too. You anonymous lurkers, you. Yeah. Make sure you guys please hit that like button because, it helps me out. And tell your friends about me. Spread the word. Fetties for the grunt suits. There's other channels out there to visit as well. People like Pacific 414 and Blaine at Blaine's Escape Corner. There's Ronin66, DJ Ronnie G, Brandon the Anime Guy, The Nerdporeal Lifeform, and Punkwaddle from Floral from Under a Rock. Myself, I'm on Twitter, Bitchute, Odysee, Rumble, and streaming on Twitch. But that's going to be it for me, my friends. I am going to... Oh, my schedule. Right. Ow, Kitty got censored. Arwen Avalon's baked ass says that. Okay. My schedule coming up on Saturday, continuing with Advance Wars for the Game Boy Advance. I am really loving this game. Like, it is fun. And I hope you guys have a fun time just like screaming at your monitors, watching how I play, saying all the things that I screwed up on. I just know you're doing that. I know you are. And then you send me those chats on what I should do and how I should do it. So it's a good time. It's a fun time had by all. Then on Sunday, it's Sunday Anime Chat. Last week was oh man, should be able to remember what I just. Oh yes, it was Dr. Slump from Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball fame. So that was his series he did before Dragon Ball, and it was a fun time. It was very silly, not as serious as Dragon Ball, but it was a fun one to watch. This Sunday, not sure what I'm going to watch yet, but I should find something. I said name a job that involves a lot of sucking. Vacuum cleaner salesman. Lollipop tester. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll? Or Tootsie Pop? Yes, and then that was Sunday, and then, of course, I'll be back here again on Tuesday at 7 p.m. doing some more trades talk. Remember, it's important. Spread the word to the younger generation to get into the trades. It's going to be very much in demand no matter which one you go into. You're going to have lots of opportunity. You can either travel, you can stay in your hometown, you can earn lots of money, and it's well worth it. It's well worth it. Do you want an early retirement? Get into the trades. You can retire by 50 or 55 if you're smart with your money and how you do things. But it's... Didn't the same person do Dragon Quest series? Yes. Akira Toriyama did the character designs for Dragon Quest. He also did them for Chrono Trigger and a show called Blue Dragon. And I want to say there's one more video game out there he did it for. I can't quite recall. I do like his character designs though. They're pretty fun. Once again, everyone, thank you for coming out. I really appreciate it. Until next time, this is Pop Culture Mechanic, signing off.